Good evening, everybody, and welcome inside our Milford TV studios as we present this week's summer edition of the Milford Informer. I am your host, Tim Coet. Coming to you from my office this week, it's been a slow news week here in the Milford community as folks have taken the opportunity to get away on vacation, but we do still have some news to bring you this week. We have one community event we want to recap for you, and then we will take a heavy look at Milford Post 59 as they head down the backstretch of their regular season. Let's get right into it with that community event. Of course, a major milestone here in Milford beginning just a couple of weeks ago as Milford celebrated their first ever 4th of July parade here in town. Ray Osier and Joe Callery doing a terrific job of getting the parade organized. It all came together on the 4th, an exciting parade running down Main Street. So let's take a look back at all of the fun that was had. Here is the first annual Milford 4th of July parade.
We are here on Town Hall on Main Street. Happy 4th of July, everybody. And this is the inaugural 4th of July parade. First one of its kind. Hopefully, years to come, we'll be doing this. I'm out of breath. I've been running up and down the
You
route.
have been. You know, it's a great parade. Already the turnout here is, fantastic. But the buzz that's been going around, Ray, around town, around just here, just today, and then to see the flag coming down the road, it makes it all feel ready to go. And it looks like we're about ready to start here. They got the bikers coming out first.
There goes Chief O'Laughlin. And we have some of our motorcycle crew from the Milford Police Department and our chief leading the parade. The official start of the parade is being led by Juniper Farms Ice Cream and our bike parade, our kids' bike parade. Bike scooters, I think there's one of those electronic cars too in the parade. But let's say hi to all of the kids here in our bike parade. Looking good, looking good.
What a great job on all these bikes.
Look at the decorations.
It takes time to put all that together.
I know, I did some last night, and it took a long time. You don't know if it's going to be too much, too little, but these kids look fantastic. Of course, they have parents, grandparents, friends, and family walking with them, and we welcome everybody to the first parade here in Milford. This is the Patriot Brass Ensemble. These guys do 140 shows plus a year.
Wow.
And all the money they raise goes back to veteran services. And they play throughout the entire country. They look fantastic.
And sound great.
This is Tim Bono. Tim Bono is out of Upton. He's kind of an up-and-coming country artist. He goes back and forth to Nashville. Secret stuff, too. We don't know what he's doing down there.
Oh.
So you might see him on, where do they show videos now? Country Music?
Country Music Channel, yeah.
Channel, yeah.
CMT.
But he could be the next thing. We don't know. But he's from Upton. He's a great guy. And here's his band. And I believe he's playing one of his original songs right now. It is one of his original songs.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the pale for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, their bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Happy 4th of July, Milford!
Let's get into that Milford Post 59 update. When last we left off with Post 59, they had already reached the halfway point of their regular season schedule. After that, it was on to the road for the longest road trip of the season for Post 59, 4 straight games away from Pheno Field. So let's take a look back at a quick recap of how that action unfolded. Milford opened up a stretch of 4 straight road games back on Friday, June 29th. The team traveled to Memorial Field in Northborough to take on Post 234, and they would slug their way to a big lead early. Milford would take a 6-1 lead after 2 innings and would score 6 more runs through the middle innings. Sam Parker would club a 2-run homer over the right field fence, and Tyler Almeida would cash in with a 2-run double as Milford would earn a 12-5 victory over Northborough. Milford would close out the month of June with an 11 a.m. start time at the home of Cherry Valley Post 443. Cherry Valley got the better of Milford at Pheno, and they would find success against Post 59 pitching once again, taking a 5-2 lead after the first inning. Milford would play catch-up over the remainder of the day before staging a big 3-run rally in the 7th inning, capped off by a dramatic 2-out RBI single from Chris Brunt that tied the game at 9. Unfortunately, the Milford bullpen could not deliver the game to extra innings. Cherry Valley would score the winning run on a wild pitch, and Milford would go on to lose by a final of 10-9. As the calendar flipped to July 1st, it was time to celebrate the 2nd annual Zone 4 Day at Holy Cross, where Milford would take on Maine South Post 341. Milford's pitching was back on top of their game, with Alex Gunfriday turning in a solid 5 innings of 1-run baseball. The offensive effort was highlighted by a 2-run home run from Aiden Wild that propelled Milford into an 8-1 lead. By game's end, Post 59 would enter double digits in runs scored for the 6th time on the season as they defeated Maine South by a final of 10-3. That victory over Maine South was Milford's 10th win overall on the season. After a long trip away from Pheno Field, they had an opportunity to open up a week with 3 consecutive games at Pheno. The action got started with a matchup against Sturbridge Post 109. Milford TV was there on the coverage, so let's go to the full highlights. On July 2nd, Milford welcomed in Sturbridge Post 109 to kick off 3 straight home games at Pheno Field. Post 59 was able to notch a mercy rule victory over Sturbridge earlier in the season, and their offense wasted no time setting the tone in the team's second meeting. It's a 2-run home run that traveled far over the left field fence. Now swings at the first pitch and hits it on the ground back up the middle for a base hit. Sean Rebello hits third base. He will be waved home. The throw will come into the center of the diamond. The first baseman will collect it. And Sean Rebello crosses home plate with the first Milford run of the game. Northborough on Friday, but this time out number 2. But Tyler Almeida swinging at the first pitch, grounds it hard through the right side for a base hit. Aiden Wild trying to score from second base, and he will. He slides in safely to the plate. Milford would capitalize on a miscue on the right side of the infield to give themselves a 4-0 lead by the time the first inning came to an end. After Milford scored a run on a sac fly in the second, they would have a runner on with 2 outs in the 4th inning, with their slugger Aiden Wild ready to do more damage. The 0-1 pitch to Wild. He sends it out to right center field, down for a base hit. Sean Rebello will jog home as the ball ended up rolling deep out into the gap. Aiden Wild continuing to hustle around the bases, and he will end up at third with a stand-up triple. Milford was still not satisfied at the plate. In the fifth, they would load the bases with one out, and their number 9 hitter, Chris Brunt, looking to stay hot at the dish.
We'll absolutely have to get to how the Red Sox scored those 3 runs. We'll do it in a moment. First run scored for Milford as Chris Brunt drops one out into shallow right field. Almeida crosses the plate. Here's Beater right behind. It's a 2-run single for Chris Brunt, and that makes it an 8-0 lead for Post 59.
After narrowly missing out on a chance to end the game via the mercy rule in that 5th inning, the defense would get sloppy for Milford in the 6th. Post 59 would commit 3 errors in the frame, allowing Sturbridge to score 4 times to cut into the Milford lead. Still in front by 5 heading into the bottom of the 6th, Alex Reynolds would provide the home fans with one last offensive highlight.
Like Nick Marcolini getting some throwing in the bullpen as Reynolds sends a rocket out to left field. In at first was the left fielder. It gets over his head. He ends up falling down. Reynolds circling around the bases. He's at third. He's going to get waved all the way around by Coach DeVito. He's going to have to hustle. The throw coming in now is not going to be in time, as it will be an inside the park home run for Alex Reynolds. Everyone's spilling out of the dugout to congratulate him. That was scalded off of Reynolds' bat.
Reynolds would then come out of the bullpen and he would strike out the side in the 7th to put the finishing touches on a 10-4 victory for Milford Post 59 over Sturbridge. After an off day on the 3rd, Milford would welcome in Framingham Post 74 for the team's annual 4th of July morning game. These matchups have typically seen outstanding pitching on both sides, and that was once again on display this season. Milford would scratch a run across against Framingham starter Jake Brockway in the bottom of the 1st, thanks to back-to-back 2-out walks followed by an Alex Reynolds RBI single. That would prove to be the only run scored on the day. Milford starter Jonathan Rice was sensational. He would allow just 2 base runners over the first 4 innings and would take a no-hitter into the 5th. Post 74 would muster just 2 hits against Rice for the game, as the Hopedale lefty would fire a complete game shutout, delivering a 1-0 victory over Framingham. So with a 3-game winning streak under their belts, Milford would face a major test on Friday as they would host Shrewsbury Post 397. Shrewsbury, of course, would get the better of Milford the first time these two teams met up at Holy Cross with a walk-off win in 10 innings. Could Milford get their revenge and even the season series? Let's go right back to the highlights. The 2 most recent teams to represent Zone 4 in the Northeast Regionals met at Pheno Field on July 6th as Milford Post 59 hosted Shrewsbury Post 397. As the game got underway, both starting pitchers were able to navigate in and out of first-inning jams. For Milford starter Justin Metcalf, he would face a bases-loaded 1-out jam in the top half of the 1st, but the young BVT student would come back to strike out Dylan Zona and Tyler Hopping back-to-back to get out of the jam. In the bottom of the inning, Shrewsbury's John West would allow a walk and a single to place 2 on with 1 down, but just as his counterpart had done, West would strike out Sam Parker and Alex Reynolds, shutting down the rally with consecutive Ks. It would be a scoreless game until the top of the 3rd. As Shrewsbury went second time through their lineup, they would make the necessary adjustments to enjoy success off of Metcalf.
And now a hard shot. That's back up the middle for a base hit. Martin is going to score. Sullivan is going to be held at third base as the throw comes back into Parker on the center of the diamond. It is an RBI single for Louis DeVolio, and that will give Shrewsbury the first lead of the night at 1-0. Milford would walk in the game-winning run. Now Zona sending one out to shallow right field. It's trouble. It's down for a hit. And Matt Sullivan will cross the plate with the second Shrewsbury run of the inning. This 3rd inning rally from his offense. Now Hopping sends a hard shot to second base. It took a tough hop right in front of Shaver. He could not make the play, as rounding second base and coming in to score is Louis DeVolio to give Shrewsbury a 3-0 lead.
Post 397 would plate 1 more run on a Milford error to finish off a 4-run 3rd inning rally. However, just as quickly as Shrewsbury had taken control of the game, they would help Milford get right back into it. Milford would see back-to-back hitters reach on errors to open the inning. John West would then proceed to allow 3 walks and a hit batter in the frame, forcing in 3 runs to cut it to a 1-run ball game. But the Shrewsbury bats would stay hot as they returned to the plate for the top of the 4th. After chasing Justin Metcalf from the game with a leadoff single, Shrewsbury would come through with a pair of extra base hits off of Alex Gonfride in relief. Post 397 would score 3 more times in the inning to once again establish a 4-run lead. Milford would push the Shrewsbury starter from the game in the bottom of the 4th inning, and lefty reliever Nick David would end up facing Aiden Wild with a runner on and 1 out. Ravello reaching on an error to open this inning, but he was erased on the force play, and now Aiden Wild sends a high fly ball out to left field. This one is deep. Bailey McHugh back to the fence, and that ball is gone. It clears the fences here at Fino Field. A 2-run homer for Wild, and that is going to put Milford back in the ball game again. It is 7-5. Wild crushes it over the Fino fence. It's the second time in his post-59 career he has left the yard here at home. As the game entered the late innings, Milford would cut it to a 1-run ball game in the 6th. Tyler Almeida would drop a pitch in front of center fielder Tyler Hopping, and after a slight misplay, Sam Parker would have a chance to race home, narrowly beating the throw to make it a 7-6 score. Shrewsbury would hope to gather some insurance as they came to the plate in the 7th. Post 397 would load the bases with only 1 out in the inning, forcing Coach DeVito to use a 4th pitcher on the night. Alex Reynolds would be the arm called upon, and Alex would get the job done, first inducing a ground ball to the drawn-in infield to get the force play at home plate, and then Reynolds would get Louis DeVolio to fly out to center, keeping it a 1-run game and setting the stage for some last-minute heroics from the Milford post-59 offense.
Now sends a line drive out to left center field. That's a gap shot. It's going to be extra bases for Rabello as it rolls all the way to the fence. Rabello can fly. He's already around second base. Coach DeVito is going to wave him all the way around. Here he comes to the plate. The throw is not going to be in time as Sean Rabello leads off the 7th inning with an inside the park home run that ties the game at 7.
Shrewsbury would start to lose their composure as the inning went along. After Tommy Ambrosoni followed up the home run with a walk, reliever Parker Brown would send a pair of wild pitches in toward the plate that allowed the winning run to advance to 3rd. Shrewsbury would then decide to walk the bases loaded to try and set up a force play at any base, but Brown could not find his command with Alex Reynolds at the plate, and post 397 would end up walking in the game-winning run. It was quite literally a walk-off win for post 59. The team would celebrate at home plate after taking down Shrewsbury by a final score of 8-7. Following the victory over Shrewsbury, Milford would keep the good times rolling over the weekend. First, it was on to Northbridge for the first meeting of the season with rival post 343. Neither team could muster much in the way of offense. Milford would capitalize on 4 Northbridge errors in the first 2 innings to take an early lead. Jack Tempesta would provide a solid outing on the mound, carrying a shutout bid into the 7th. Northbridge would threaten in the final inning, but in the end, Milford was able to hang on to take the game by a final score of 4-1. On Sunday, it was back to Fino to open up the final homestand of the regular season with a matchup against Eastside. Milford would see a couple of Milford High School products team up to lead the offense. Matt Shaver and Nick Marcolini would combine for 6 hits and 3 runs batted in. Post 59 would hold on to an 8-2 lead heading into the 7th. Tommy Leone would pitch well for Milford, but his bid for a complete game would fall 1 batter short as Eastside would rally for a pair of 7th-inning runs, forcing Milford to go to their bullpen. Chris Brunt would close out the game in relief, and Milford would come through with victory number 15 on the year as they defeat Eastside by a final of 8-4. As the teams head into the final week of the regular season, here's how the standings appeared as of Monday, July 9th. It would remain Leominster and Shrewsbury as the top 2 teams in the zone. However, after Grafton Hill suffered losses in 2 out of 3 games over the weekend, they would fall to 4th place, allowing Milford to climb into 3rd. Each of the top 4 teams have already guaranteed themselves a spot in the Zone 4 tournament, leaving 4 remaining spots up for grabs. Northborough and Cherry Valley would continue to hold on to 5th and 6th place respectively, with Framingham and Northbridge completing the top 8. Before we wrap up this week's show, there's one upcoming event we want to share with you. Our good friends over at the Milford Area Chamber of Commerce will be hosting their Hot to Trot 5K in just a couple of weeks. The event will take place on July 28th. It will kick off at 8 a.m. over at the VFW on 15 Milford Street in Upton. All runners are welcome, whether you're an experienced runner or a novice. It should be a great family-friendly course and hopefully some great weather for the event. So you're welcome to come down. It's a $25 registration fee, and that will include breakfast on the day of the event and also a free t-shirt. So it should be an exciting event. Again, it comes your way on Friday, July 28th, as the Milford Area Chamber of Commerce hosts their Hot to Trot 5K. We look forward to bringing you more coverage of that as we get closer, but in the meantime, that will wrap up this summer edition of the Milford Informer. We'll be back again in a couple of weeks. And make sure you stay tuned to all of our coverage of Milford Legion baseball. Stay close to us on social media, and also keep an eye on our educational channel and our YouTube page for all of our full game coverage. We hope you continue to get out there and enjoy the great summer weather. In the meantime, from all of us here at Milford TV, this is Tim Coet saying have a great week. So long, everybody.